We lost and it hurts, but it is not the time to panic. Look, losing 2-1 away to Aston Villa, especially in the last kick of the game, is brutal. But you can feel in the fan base, certain people are losing their minds. Bottle jobs, here we go again, title race over. I don't understand how one game can cause such head loss within Arsenal fan base. It is actually crazy. Because that loss away to Villa is only our second loss in the entire campaign across all competitions. So in today's video, I want to do two things. One, be brutally honest about why and how we lost to Aston Villa. No sugarcoating and no excuses. Number two, I want to put the entire season so far into context and make you understand why this game shouldn't cause anyone to think we're in crisis. So if you're still fuming from an Aston Villa result yesterday, stick with me for a couple minutes. I guarantee by the end of the video, you will change your mind. So first of all, credit where it's due, Aston Villa are legit. Despite starting the season in the first 5 games struggling for a win, Villa have been on an insane run, winning 9 games out of the last 10. And that sees them in the title race. They're 3 points behind us on 30 points in 3rd place. And I think it's fair to say they are the most informed team in the league right now. And with that being said, makes Villa Park one of the hardest grounds to go to right now. But let's give a general overview of the game. In the first 15 minutes, we started off strong on the front foot and we had several chances to open the scoring. However, we concede first from a Matty Cash goal. We don't deal with the cross, it gets deflected to the far post. Eze kind of falls asleep at the back post and Matty Cash tucks it away. In the second half, Arteta makes brutal changes. Hooks Eze and Marino off at half time, brings on Gyökeres and Trossard, and the game completely changes. Trossard comes on and does really well. We actually equalise by a classic Arsenal goal, playing down the right-hand side. A nice little give and go between Saka and Odegaard. Saka slips it into the box, it deflects, finds Trossard, who puts it into the back of the net. And from that moment onwards, for the next 20 minutes, we looked like the dominant side. We looked like the side who's going to get the second goal and win this game. And with that, we got into dangerous areas. But in that final third, things were missing. And it's beautifully shown by this little snapshot. Bear in mind, this is few minutes before Villa get the winner in the 95th minute. Declan Rice squares the ball across the face of the goal and Gyökeres isn't there. No one is really there to meet it. Madueke is there. He comes in late. He shoots for some sort of weird reason from a very tight angle and it hits the side netting. And then comes the killer. It's the 95th minute, absolute chaos in the box. Bodies are flying everywhere. The ball lands at Buendia's feet and he finds the back of the net. And I think it's fair to say, for everyone who watched the full 90 minutes of the game, emphasis on full 90 minutes of the actual game, this game wasn't about a tactical masterclass. It wasn't about, Emery getting the better over Arteta. This was about game management from the players. Composure, and I guess you can even say a bit of luck. The only reason I'm saying it's luck is because with that amount of bodies flying in the box, the bounce can go anywhere. But yes, we made mistakes. We didn't defend the wide areas that well and we lost quite a few second balls. We weren't using our momentum to the best of our ability. We weren't ruthless at 0-0 and we weren't ruthless at 1-1. And then in the final moments of the game, mentally, some of the players switched off. Now these are real issues, but don't get me wrong. They're very fixable. Now let's zoom out a little bit. Let's put some of the games into context and look at the overall season so far. Because I guarantee by the end of this section, you'll understand that Arsenal Football Club are not in a crisis. Now, before yesterday's game, Arsenal were unbeaten in 18 games across all competitions. In the Premier League, we've been at the top of the table for about 4 or 5 weeks now with marginal advantages, 5, maybe 6 points, and we've missed out on a couple chances to make it 9, 10, and 11. And we're doing this with one of the best defenses and attacks in the league. And even after losing to Aston Villa, we're still top of the Premier League. Yes, I get it. The points have gone from 5 ahead to now 2 ahead. The gap has reduced, but we are still the team that everybody is chasing. So this isn't a team in crisis. A team in crisis wouldn't lose 2 league games in about 4 months of football. A team in crisis doesn't go on an 18-game unbeaten run that sees us play the likes of Tottenham, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Manchester City even. So I think people just need to take a step back and be like, okay, we lost to Villa, but it's not a crisis. And if you look at the last 5 fixtures we've had, Chelsea, Tottenham, Bayern Munich, Brentford, Aston Villa, we've come away with a win 3 times. We've drawn once, and this is the first loss we've had in 18 games. Whilst balancing the now thick and fast schedule of the winter period and getting injuries, we're still top of the league and top of the Champions League. This is not a team in crisis. It is 100% title challenging form and potentially even title winning form. It's just a minor blip in the road. And this part really matters. On screen, you'll see a graphic produced by Match of the Day showing the amount of games this season that Arsenal players have missed due to injury. Kai Havertz, 14 games missed. Gabriel Jesus with 12 games. Odegaard and Madueke have missed 6 games each. Saliba, Gabriel and Hincapié have missed 4. Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, Ben White have all missed games. And if you want to do the numbers, that's around 65 Premier League games so far that Arsenal players have missed due to injury. And again, these aren't, under 21s and players that are never going to play. These are a lot of key players. So when people say same old Arsenal, mentality, bottlers, they can't do this, they can't do that, you really have to question who's saying it, because you have to factor in that we're still top of the Premier League. We're still top of the Champions League. We were on an 18-game unbeaten run across all competitions, and we were balancing all of these injuries, balancing the tight schedule that everybody else is balancing. I wouldn't panic and start to say this is a crisis. I would be annoyed, yes, 100%. But it doesn't mean that I should now discredit everything that we've done up until this point just because we've lost a second game for the entire season. Is it frustrating to lose away at Villa? 100%. But does that automatically mean that the squad isn't worthy of winning a title or chasing a title? No. Does that now mean that the mentality amongst the team and the coaches is weak? Definitely not. Because the evidence across the entire season says the exact opposite. So why is it that Arsenal fans have lost their head? Now, don't get me wrong, it's not all Arsenal fans, but it does seem like a large portion of the fan base, at least online, right, have lost their minds. They're losing faith in the team. They're scapegoating players. They're picking out, oh, Odegaard doesn't do this. Oh, Eze is lazy. Hincapié this. I think people need to calm down, take a deep breath, and relax. It's okay to be frustrated at losing. And this season, we haven't lost often at all. But what we shouldn't be doing is placing all the blame on the players that we like the least. We shouldn't be placing the blame on Arteta because, he hasn't won the Premier League so far. We shouldn't be discrediting everything this team has done so far just because our advantage went from 5 points to 2 points. Now, let me be honest. Everything isn't perfect. And this was shown losing against Aston Villa. The game management late on wasn't quite right. For me, I would have taken off Declan Rice in the 80th minute, put on Norgard and shut up shop. Like I said, Villa in the form of their life, especially at home, I don't think it's worth taking that extra risk to go and chase the game, knowing that Villa have gone the last 10 games unbeaten. Things that should have been done, that title-winning teams do, is slowing the game down where they know the opposition is gaining momentum, taking tactical fouls. And I think that's something that Arteta and the coaches are definitely going to have to review when they're rotating the squad. What players can we put on to do this? Secondly, I'd say the defensive organisation is something to still be worked on when we don't have Gabriel and Saliba. But again, they haven't been injured often, so this isn't something we're used to, but it's something that we should definitely be preparing for. And then lastly, efficiency in front of goal is definitely missing. We had more possession, more shots on target than Aston Villa. Yet Aston Villa scored twice, and we only scored once. When you're in a title race, those fine margins matter. It is absolutely inexcusable that with so many shots on target and so many chances, we only scored once. You have to convert that dominance into goals. Because if you think of it like this, all the chances we had in the first 15, 20 minutes, if that was Manchester City, Bayern Munich, PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, how many times would they have scored? And I'm listing these clubs off because we want to be the best team in the world. And these teams that I've just listed at some point have been the best team in the world, at least the best team in their league, and have won that league. And these are fair criticisms. I'm not being a negative person who wants to point out all the flaws of Arsenal like some certain fans online. If you want to win the title, these are things that we definitely have to work on, especially away from home. Because I love this club and I want the best for this club. And I want us to win the Premier League. I want us to win the Premier League and the Champions League. And addressing these concerns, especially on the road, will definitely get us that closer to winning silverware. So what happens next? The key thing isn't to focus too much on Aston Villa, but focus on how we respond. Now, we've got Club Brugge midweek in the Champions League, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to not only rotate, but then also work on some of these things that I mentioned. Because yet again, we are away from home. Now in the Champions League, we haven't lost a game. We've won all of our games. But this is something that we're going to need to do time and time again this season. Work on our away form. Make sure that the form we're seeing at home at the Emirates Stadium translates away from home too. And this winter period is cruel. We're going to be playing games every 3, sometimes even 2 days. And I'm not using this as an excuse because every team who plays European football is going to have the same schedule. I don't care about the other teams. I care about Arsenal and I care about what we're going to do every 2-3 games when we have to rotate Ben White, when we have to rotate Declan Rice, when we have to rotate Bukayo Saka. Are we still going to maintain this level of consistency? Are we still going to maintain this level of intensity and clinical ability up front? With such a packed schedule, there is no time to sulk. There's no time to lick our wounds. We need to respond now. And that, for me, is the message to Arsenal fans. Should we be annoyed at losing away to Villa? 100%. Should we demand more from our club and our players? We definitely should. But what we shouldn't do is now discredit all the hard work we've done from August up until this point. It makes no sense to write off the remainder of the season due to a sucker punch in added time. The team has grown. We're better in both boxes than the years prior. Despite still getting injuries, our depth means that now we're coping with it slightly better. We're competing on multiple fronts and we're still top of the league. So no, this isn't a collapse. It's not a crisis. And I think it's a blip in the road. But amongst anything else, it's a painful reminder that the title is decided by moments. And on Saturday, that moment belonged to Aston Villa. So the real question is, what do Arsenal do next? How do we get ahead in these moments? If you're still backing the team like I am, then drop your thoughts in the comments down below. What might worry you about the next couple of games? And what is going to keep your confidence that this team can actually go the distance in the title race and make the change? Instead of finishing second, we'll be lifting the trophy come May. And remember this, only losing our second game of around 20 matches played due to a last-minute winner doesn't define the season. How we respond to it will.